For years, crypto told people one thing: be your own bank. And that sounds powerful until people realize something. If you're your own bank, you're also your own security department, your own fraud department, your own custody desk, and in some cases, your own physical protection plan. Because crypto is no longer just digital, it's not just a hacked wallet, it's not just smart contract, it's not just a phishing link. The risk is moving into the real world. And regular users are starting to realize that public wallet activity can become a public map to their financial life. This creates a new question, not just how can we move money faster, but who will be able to see it? Because the next phase of crypto won't be built on transparency alone. It will be built on controlled visibility. Privacy for people, transparency for public money, and security for everything in between. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the New Financial World Powering Tomorrow, the show where we break down how electricity, technology, digital systems, and finance shape the real economy. I'm your host, Zach here. Today's episode is not about price charts. It's not about hype, not about which token is up this week. It's about something deeper: crypto security premium. Because as crypto becomes more valuable, as DeFi grows, as stablecoins expand, and as more capital flows into digital assets, the security becomes a bigger problem, not smaller. This episode is about why privacy is becoming infrastructure, why public money should be transparent, and why capital may start flowing toward the system that solves protection. But before we dive in, quick disclaimer. This show is for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. Nothing you hear should be considered financial, legal, investment, or tax advice. Always do your own research and consult a licensed professional before making any decisions. All viewpoints on this channel are of my own and are not of those of any employer or organization. Now, let's get to it. Most people understand crypto risk as price risk first. Bitcoin up, Bitcoin down. Altcoin rallies up, altcoin crashes. Then it expanded. Exchange failures, wallet hacks, bridge exploits, smart contract failures. But now we're entering another phase: human risk, operational risk, physical risk. In earlier 2026, Bloomberg reported that after a wave of kidnappings, assaults, armed home invasions, and the industry started hardening the defenses. It was reported physical attacks rose by 75% in 2025, 72 confirmed incidents, and roughly 41 million in losses. The report stated at Bitcoin 2026 Las Vegas, high-profile speakers moved with personal security. There were workshops on protecting holdings during home invasions. Crypto is becoming valuable enough that the attack surface is no longer just the wallet. It's the person.
According to one blockchain security firm, physical attacks used to coerce crypto holders to give up their credentials rose 75% last year, resulting in $41 million in known losses around the world. Ismail Lee joins us now with more. And these are called wrench attacks. I'm not totally sure why, because that's a physical implement. But in any case, you went to the Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas just a few weeks ago, and you saw this in action, the stepped up security.
There was stepped up security. I think wrench attacks, it's called that because you use a $5 wrench to really actually beat up a person or physically coerce them into doing something. It's like a security term / crypto term / internet slang. No one really knows the history of it, but now it's widely used in the industry because you're seeing a rise when it comes to this. That's why in Las Vegas, you see all these VIPs. I'm not even sure if I'm at liberty to say, although I saw them with my own eyes. You could just think of the biggest names. They all had security. It's a vulnerable and delicate topic because speaking about them having security raises the stakes, but at the same time, they do have security. But for normal people like you and me, where 20,000, 100,000 really means like your savings or like a huge nest in your retirement, you also want to take care and be proactive in your measures. So one of the most popular workshops there was how to protect your Bitcoin in case of all caps home invasion.
Why are crypto's executives especially being targeted? Because certainly anyone who holds crypto would be an obvious victim.
One of the people we quoted here said it's high risk, low reward, high risk, low reward. No, it's low risk, high reward. Because once you identify a target, and you siphon their crypto no matter however way you want to, it's easy to launder that. And I feel like people always confuse decentralization with anonymity. That's a premise of crypto. It's decentralized, but you can trace it. You can see wallets move in real time. And if you're sophisticated enough, you can probably find a person. People are really resorting to a multitude of sophisticated ways. And it's just funny because the whole premise of crypto is you don't want government intervention, but then now sometimes you ask for them to help you. And at the same time, it's something so physical because you can keep your coin in a cold wallet or a hard wallet. And then if it's with you physically, then if someone goes to your home, they can just take that as opposed to someone in a bank.
Yeah.
I mean, the olden times, I guess you can get cash, but
The physical safeguards required for something digital and virtual is pretty remarkable. Yeah. Things do come full circle.
In traditional finance, your money sits behind layers. Banks, fraud departments, insurance, reversal mechanisms. In crypto, when you hold the keys, the responsibility moves to you. Not your keys, not your coin still matters, but there's another side. Your keys, your risk. Crypto transparency is one of its greatest strengths. Public blockchains let people verify transactions, trace flows, confirm settlement, and see activity directly instead of trusting hidden books. That is powerful. But if a public wallet gets tied to your real identity, it reveals patterns. Where money came from, where it went, what protocol you used, who you interacted with. Combine that with leaked exchange data, social media, conference attendance, and on-chain analytics, and the picture gets sharp fast. The blockchain shows addresses, the real world connects identities. And once that happens, the person becomes part of the attack surface. Public ledgers are great for verification, but they can be dangerous for personal financial exposure. Privacy is not a side issue. It's becoming a security layer. Here is the framework. Retail payments need privacy. Public money needs transparency. A regular person should not have their entire financial life exposed because they use crypto wallets. This is where certain protocols come into play, like Monero and Zcash. And this is why they also matter. Monero represents privacy by default. Zcash shows how zero-knowledge technology can protect transaction details while still allowing the system to verify validity. And in 2026, Zcash has become a market signal. Reporting in May pointed a sharp rally and growing interest in financial confidentiality. Whether the momentum holds or not, capital is paying attention to privacy again. Not because every transaction should be hidden, but because every transaction should not be exposed by default. Stablecoins make the duality concrete. A family sending remittances needs privacy. A regulated institution moving funds through DeFi rails needs compliance. Same digital dollar, different visibility requirement. But public money is different. If a taxpayer's money is being spent, if a government agencies are moving funds, if public contracts are being paid, visibility should go the other direction. Citizens should be able to see where public money goes, who received it, whether it went where it was supposed to go. That is where public audit trails make sense. The future is not just simply private versus public. It is controlled visibility. Private where people need protection, public where taxpayers deserve accountability. Selective visibility where regulators and auditors need verification. That is how crypto matures. This is where SUI enters the conversation. It's not, I did not just pick this shirt just because I was going to talk about this. It's actually, I was looking at this article and I saw SUI pop up and I was already had the shirt on. So I was like, hey, why not? But this is where SUI enters the conversation, okay? The market is realizing that one-size-fits-all blockchain visibility does not work. Public chains are powerful, open settlement, composability, transparency, shared infrastructure. But institutions need control, privacy, performance, predictable rules. Environments where sensitive activity happens without broadcasting everywhere in the world. Now, SUI is not an old enterprise ledger model. It's a modern high-performance chain architecture. Fast execution, object-based design, consumer and institutional potential. When a modern public chain ecosystem starts exploring controlled or private network environments, that tells us where the industry is going. Hybrid infrastructure. Publicly enough to verify, private enough to protect. Fast enough to scale, controlled enough for institutions. Capital does not only flow towards coins, it flows towards architecture. Self-custody is powerful, but control transfers responsibility. If your wallet is tied to your identity, if your social media points to your holdings, if your conference badge or public wallet connects you to wealth, you become an easier target. The mature version of self-custody includes wallet separation, cold storage, multi-signature, hardware wallet discipline, privacy hygiene, and duress planning. Think of it this way: a small visible wallet for public activity, while real holdings stay cold and separated. That's not paranoia, that's asset management. Be your own bank is not a slogan, it's an operational responsibility. Banks have security departments. If you remove the bank, you have to protect that discipline somewhere. When risk rises, capital allocates. Fire risk created insurance, cyber risk created cybersecurity. Credit risk created underwriting. Crypto risk is now creating its own security stack. Capital will flow towards custody, wallet monitoring, smart contract audits, protocol risk analytics, insurance, compliance tools, privacy-preserving rails, private network infrastructure, and public accountability systems for government money. That next wave of crypto capital will not only chase yields, it will chase protection. Because serious capital does not only ask, what's the upside? It asks, can the system survive stress? Can the assets be protected? Can privacy be preserved without eliminating accountability? That is where security premium comes from. The capital that survives is the capital that understands security. That wraps up this episode of The New Financial World, Powering Tomorrow. The Bloomberg Securities story showed us that digital wealth creates real risk. Zcash's 2026 price action shows markets are starting to reprice privacy. Monero reminds us private digital payments have always had demand. Sui's direction shows us that even modern high-performance chains recognize the need for controlled environments. And Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and Stellar, and XRP remind us that transparency still matters when accountability is the goal. Governments may be more receptive to controlled visibility than either extreme, because self-disclosure for AML and KYCs fits inside existing frameworks, better than full exposure or full opacity. So the real question is not should everything be public or should everything be private? The real question is who needs privacy? Who owns transparency? And what system can verify the truth without exposing everything? That is where crypto is heading. If this episode helped you see the risk layer behind crypto differently, share it with someone who still only is looking at prices and charts. Because the next financial world will not just reward who moves fastest, it will reward who can build systems that people can trust under stress. Until next time, learn, adapt, and prosper. And as always, stay energized.